Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here with Elad from a really cool company, DriftSense. I can't wait for him to explain to us his company and also give me a little background on just yourself and how you started this company.
Shal, thank you so much for your time. Very excited and happy to be here. Yeah, so my name is Elad Segal. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DriftSense. In my background, my expertise, I'm a chemist. I hold a PhD in material science and chemistry from Bar-Ilan University here in Israel. We started a company in late 2019 through the entrepreneurship program of Bar-Ilan University here, which is called Unbox Ventures. I was in my last year of my PhD in the chemistry department. I had no idea I didn't know how to pronounce entrepreneurship, right? Or
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur. And I just came to a few lectures with Ariel here, the managing director of Unbox, and I fell in love with it, right? It's like a bacteria that spreads all over and like a virus, so to speak. And that's it. And I said to myself, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It sounds like a cliche, but it's really burns within, right? Burns inside. So what we do with DriftSense, and I have two more co-founders with me on my team. One is Dr. Ran Shauli. Ran is the chief operational officer in the company and co-founder. He was the chief advisor for the head of Israeli Plant Protection and Inspection Services. And our CTO is Dr. Pavel Kunin. Pavel holds a PhD in meteorology and geophysics. He can actually simulate everything that we have in our air. Everything that moves in the air, he can simulate. So we're a trio, so to speak: chemistry, meteorology, and environmental regulation or farming regulation. And we put our knowledge into our software solution, software-only solution, which is called DriftSense. And what we do is that we optimize the best spraying times for growers, right? We augment it. We say, tell us what's your gear, how you spray it, what's the nozzle type, what materials are you using. We understand what's the physicochemical properties of these materials, high resolution meteorology per plot, and we take this with the environmental regulations and labels, and we say specifically for you, this is the best time to spray. It would optimize your spraying, you would save time, money, resources, and you know that you're not drifting away and you're keeping your materials where you want them to hit.
Now explain to me, what does it mean by spraying, just for people that don't know?
So it means that you need to use practices of pest management, right? We're out in the open. You have, let's say, let's have a quick simulation, right? You are a pest control advisor, or you own a farm, you're a grower, and you want to make sure that at the end of the season, you would get yield to your customers, right? Or to the co-ops that you're working with. There's a lot of things that might eat, so to speak, your yield, right? So it could be rodents, it could be other kinds of pests as viruses, bacteria. It might be bugs and so on and so forth. And they need to apply pesticides. So we're talking this. It's quite of a large group of family. When you say pesticides, there are biopesticides. There are more systemic chemical materials. You need to spray. You need to make sure that you hit this pest and you're done with the problem. Otherwise, you'll get to the end of the season and you could be even 40-50% less in the yield that you wanted to supply.
Interesting. Well, yeah, makes sense. I mean, crops these days are being affected by so many different things. One of them pesticide, one of them, whatever pesticides they have. Now, so how did you come up with this idea to create this company? Like this is
Yeah,
pretty niche, right? It's pretty like no, it's something that's needed, but it's also pretty specific.
right. So most of my research work as a chemist, right, in the academia came from a niche of developing sensors for pesticides in solution. It might be aqueous solution, it might be other organic solution, and I thought this is what I want to do. It's very applicative, right? You take it into the real world and you can sense these kinds of pesticide, make sure how much is on the crop or how much is in the solution. And then when I met Ran through Unbox, Ran, my partner, he said, a lot of people which are not engaged directly in agriculture are being exposed to pesticide. And we thought together, how can we mitigate it, right? Nobody wants to be exposed, but also the grower side, they don't want to expose other residential areas or other people's crop to these kinds of pesticide. It might be a lot of damages, right? Not the pest, the pesticide themselves. And we start talking, we start brainstorming about how can we make sure that we keep whatever you want to spray in your plots, right? Being very accurate. And these are exactly the crucial parameters that we put inside our system. So what actually would bring the best or optimized outcome in the field level? So you need to understand the very high resolution meteorology, right? It might be not just the wind direction and speed or relative humidity, but you have turbulence, you have inversions, you have a lot of other climatic features or atmospherical factors, which are very, very hard for one to understand what would happen. So this is one. You have the materials. How are they acting in specific environment? You have materials that might volatilize, right? They might move from one phase to another, talk about liquid phase, gas phase, and so on and so forth. Some materials might not volatilize at all, and some might volatilize by 100x, right? In the same atmospherical conditions. How do you spray them, right? If you're spraying from a drone in a height of 3 meters above the canopy, or 1 meter, or even take it, in a more differentiated way, in a boom sprayer on the ground or a crop duster, that's a whole new level of understanding what would happen. And at the end of the day, it's of course the labels, the regulations. If you're in the US, you have county, state, federal level regulations, and growers are getting a lot of heat from residents, from other crop growers, because they're in many cases, they don't know what to do in order to keep their spraying in their fields and not hurt other people, which obviously they don't want to do that, right?
Yeah. So you're really optimizing for the growers when to spray it, right? Like what's the
Correct,
optimal
correct.
time to spray it so that it stays within your field? Is that what I'm you don't create the pests, you don't create it. You just say when's the best time to spray it that your field will take in whatever you need to take in and it won't go to other fields. Also,
That's correct.
you also do it for when's the best time of the season for the crops to receive it? You take that into account?
Yes, of course. So I'll try to address both. So one, definitely, we're giving the best timing, which in this timing, it encapsulates all the feature for a grower. It's your DNA, right? It's not just knowing the weather, it's knowing your weather. It's not just knowing some materials for your crop, it's knowing your materials, your gear, your meteorology, the labels and regulation, and so on and so forth. And then I tell you, give me your cards, and I'll show you, I'll teach you how you can do the best play, right? I don't tell you you need to invest new capital in buying new nozzles. I can definitely give you the analytics for that, but growers usually have the problem of investing their time. It's a busy season, and of course investing in new capital, buy a new tractor. That's a lot of money. And we say, give us all of your information, give us your DNA of your plot, of you as a grower. We'll make the best out of it, right? So this is what we do.
That's really amazing, honestly. I mean, just optimizing growing, right? I mean, we all need to eat food, but to make sure we get everything perfect, I mean, that's a science that really is that's very special. That's something that really we need, right? So
Yeah,
I'm that
Shal, I wanted to address the second question with
yeah.
regard to the phenological steps. So what we learned along the way is that growers are working with their wingmans, right? So you cannot just take a pest control advisor or agronomist out of this equation. We don't want to. They know for many years what needs to be done, what are the materials, and so on and so forth. And we implement their decision into our decision support making, right? So if they're telling it's better to use one material or another, we'll take that, put this in our models, in our algorithms, that it would the spraying outcome would be the best. So just addressing this one.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Now, how do you actually like it seems pretty complicated actually because each field is in a different climate in a way. I mean, all over the world. How do you take into account like what do you have? A system? You have algorithms? Do you actually go to the place to take the weather account? I don't know. Like, what do you guys do to get an accurate reading of each place?
Right. So that's a very good question. We've been, a lot of it's about cost of doing business, costs of goods for a company, right? A lot of people are asking, why are you not taking just weather forecasts or other APIs and you implement them into the system? So The answer for that is that there are many parameters which might be in a very good level, right, in a high accuracy, but not specifically for agriculture. So it might be good for, you know, aviation, it might be good for aerospace, but not specifically for agriculture. So this is exactly what we built. So Dr. Pavel Kunin, our CTO, he's been dealing in 15 years with hands-on experience in building specific high-resolution models to understand how a climate situation would act given 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters. This is exactly what we do. We do implement some resources, but it's never a forecast. We build our own models, and this is our specialty. This is actually what we do. There are some regions which are more complicated to give the forecast or to model, like in very structured topography, right? We're doing wine grapes, right? Vineyards, and they might be in high elevation, in slopes, and we take this into account, and we do the best to build the highest accuracy model that we can provide.
It sounds so. The whole thing is very interesting. It's very interesting. Now, so do you ever have to go to the places, or you don't have to ever be there physically to get a good reading?
Right. So it depends. So at the end of the day, the answer is no. We don't need to get there. We don't need anyone physical, but you cannot do agriculture without a personal contact. It's true in every other sector. You need to make a relation. You need it's not a customer, it's a partner. It's not a customer, it's a collaborator. So you need to be there for the people specifically because they're risking a lot, right? The margins in agriculture is very low. And it's a problem. So as long as we build a personal connection, this is how growth looks like at the end of the day. So we don't have to go there, but indeed we do have boots on the ground individuals which are talking to the growers, talking with us, we understand their problems. It's not a call center when we say, hey, you have a problem, like call us between, I don't know, 9 to 5. It doesn't work. It should be very personal.
Now tell me about you told me about the other two partners. Tell me about your team. Like, how big is the company, and are you guys actually using the product? Are farmers using it?
Yeah, so within the team, we have, including advisors, we are almost 20 people. So we got quite of growth in the last few months. We're from the seed round fundraising. So with Ran and Pavel, we have more individuals which are dealing with data analysis. Niriafe is our VP R&D. We have business strategy and customer success with us. So there are many people. Each is an expert in his field. I always like to say, again, another cliche, but I always like to be, the dumbest individual in the room. I always like to learn. It comes from also being, at the end of the day, coming from academia as a researcher. Always like to ask questions and understand. There is a specific amount of information that you can learn in a specific amount of time, right? But I always like to learn more and more. So we're almost 20 people. We are surrounded by world-renowned experts in their field. So we have Professor Douglas Duhan, 40 years in phytopathology from Ohio State University. We have Professor Rodrigo Figueroa. He's the Dean of Agriculture Engineering in one of the largest universities in Chile, where we work now with one of the biggest wineries in the country. Professor Dorita Edelstein from Hebrew University. Uri Adler, which is an agronomist for 40 years. Ariel Sela advised us here from Unbox and the Venture. It's amazing. They're unbelievively talented. Yeah.
What a team! Wow. You guys are only 3 years old, and I see what's happening here. I mean, you guys are going at it because you have a really good team. I believe also I'm saying, but you have these really smart people over here. Wow. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I must say that they're all. We started in a pro bono phase, and some of them are still in pro bono. They really believe in what we want to do. I always try to surround myself that money or equity will, at least at the beginning, would not be a part of this, because when I bring new talent, right, new team member, a new drifter, I call it, into the team, I want to make sure that they are doing what they're doing and it's interesting for them. That comes from heart, right? That they not just coming to work, they'll write a few line of code or give a few advice and that's it. They really want to do, really is mission driven, I would say.
You want them to wake up every day and be excited. Like this is what I'm
Yeah,
doing something. I'm making a difference. We're really helping farmers, we're helping crops, we're helping food, bringing more food. So
exactly,
I
exactly.
I, I love it. Okay, so you're in Chile. What are you in different so you're in South America, I'm assuming. Are you in North America, Central America, Europe?
Yes, definitely. So we have a few projects that we want to run with a large agrochemical company that we're starting in Europe, and as you said, in South America and Chile, and of course our next step is entering into the U.S. market. So specifically in California, the vegetable garden of the U.S. In March. This is the season starting in March, and we're now having all preparations in order to get into the market, working with multinational corporates, with pest control advisors and agronomists. Definitely, this is where we're heading in the next season,
That's
upcoming
very
season.
very exciting. I know that the US market's probably a little more complicated than the other markets because there's a lot of regulations, but I mean America grows so much. When you fly over America, you just see farms everywhere. You just see there's a lot of agriculture in the United States. So that's gonna be great
Yes,
to get.
yes. We met a lot of them, until now, but also when we flew me and Ron to customer validation, right, to customer discovery, met hundreds of individuals. So from all ends in agriculture, and many types of stakeholders, growers, pest control advisors, Californian EPA, you name it, and it was amazing. You drive miles after miles, right? We went all from San Diego to Sacramento and San Francisco. We met so many individuals. One is amazing, right? You meet new people, you learn
Yeah.
all the time, and you can not believe what's the size of the hectares, the acreage of these growers. So
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge market. Wow. Now tell me, where do you guys have a headquarters somewhere in let's say Israel? Where you guys located, or is it just like remote? How's the structure of the company?
Yeah, so some of the individuals are working more hybridly, I would say. So we have two offices. One is the here at Unbox Ventures, the open arms we're getting here each and every day. So I'm traveling around here and also abroad for meeting and so on and so forth. But we also have our official office in Beer Sheva at WeWork. It's the tech team, right? The development team sits there, and I'm there around twice a week, just to catching up, doing sprints with the team, understanding where we go, where we're heading.
Yeah. Wow. Now I have a question. Starting a new company, right? Which is what you're doing. I know there's so many ups and downs along the way. There's you don't sometimes some days you don't know what's happening. Some days you're everything's amazing. Maybe you could share like just something you could think of, maybe some interesting story or something crazy that happened. I mean, obviously the company's great, you're here, but as we all know, starting something like this is not easy. Just so people can understand, what it is.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's a lot of downs, I would say, more than the ups ones, right? So, but every up, so to speak, is like 50 compared to like 50 downs, and you have to stay very optimistic. And this is what I try to do each and every day. It's hard,
Yeah.
a founder that would say that it's not, it just lies. But I
Yeah.
love what I do. I try to be optimistic. I would say one from the start, actually. I have a lot, but one which is very I would say memorable is that we almost closed the company at the beginning because we didn't have a CTO and we didn't know how to find Pavel, right? That's a lot of skill set, meteorology, code, models, and when we talked to his PhD advisor at the time, Professor Dorita Edelstein, she said, guys, I have no idea. This guy is probably in the Pentagon. Really, that's what she said. And we said, how could we bring anyone from the Pentagon to be a co-founder? We're never going to raise our seed round like that. It can't be like a foreign co-founder like thousands of miles away from us. And then on one of the weekdays, like 2 weeks after that, I'm talking around 2.5 years ago, more than that. She said, I have someone. He's about to deliver his PhD. Maybe you'll talk to him. And it was like chemistry, right? It was like instant click, and we're so happy for that. So this is one of it. So on one end, you're about to close the company, then a week and a half after, you're already talking about, okay, how are we progressing? How are we start sketching up, right? The back end and the blueprints of the system. That's 180 between one to another.
Well, yeah. I can't even imagine. I mean, obviously I hear from all CEOs of startups, of new companies, like there's no day that you're not like what's gonna go wrong, what's gonna happen. You gotta always be on top of challenges and stuff come up. So many times I've seen that companies like rebrand themselves. They thought they want to do one thing and they realize it's not gonna work. They do something else. Or like what you said, like you didn't even know if you'd be able to be a company. So the fact that you're here 3 years later and you're in Chile, you're in different countries, you're going to the US hopefully soon. I mean, that's pretty amazing, I have to say, like pretty cool.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's hard. You need to get some good feedbacks along the way, right?
yeah,
It builds you up
yeah.
eventually.
Wow. Well, listen, I just want to say that, for me listening to this podcast, I've learned a tremendous amount. I didn't even know. Obviously, you know that stuff, crops need pesticides, but to the fact that you're creating something that makes it like almost perfect, as perfect as we can get, I think that's really amazing, and that will help the world. That will help farmers. That'll help the world, which is amazing. This is we need food. That's what we need. So thank you so much for giving me your time, and I hope to see in the future. I hope to see you guys are all over, everywhere. Everyone's using your technology, and yeah, I can't wait to see y'all the journey.
Thank you so much, Charles, for your time and for the kind words. Definitely, this is something that we want to make for good. You said it correctly. We need food. We'll need more food, right? There's a lot
Yeah,
of growth in population, so we need more food. We need better ways to do it, right? Being sustainable, and this is exactly where we aim at. So thank you so much, for giving me this stage.
of course. Thank you.